Coastal on the inside is moving up toward leader now and down the stretch. Spectacular bid on the outside. It is Coastal on the inside. Those two now vying for the lead at Coastal puts ahead in front. Spectacular bid back into second. Golden Act is third, approaching the 16th pole. It is an upset now. Coastal has the lead by 3. Spectacular bid on the inside. Coastal on the outside. It is Coastal in front.
All right, welcome back to a very, very long overdue final video of A Case for Racing Immortality. We got 3 Hall of Fame candidates as trainers to discuss today. Mark Casse, the late David Whiteley, and Christophe Clement. And I'm going to start off with trainer Mark Casse. So let's start off with taking a look at his accomplishments over the years. I will note Mark Casse does have War of Will in the Kentucky Derby this year, so he does have a chance to add to his resume. Mark Casse is a winner of 4 Breeders' Cup races. He is also one of the best trainers in Canada, and while the Hall of Fame does not take into consideration Canada, I think it is something to note that Mark Casse is the best trainer in Canada. Some of his good horses on this side of the border, though, have been Classic Empire, and of course, Champion Turf Filly Tepin, who won the Breeders' Cup Mile in 2015. And then he also had Catch a Glimpse in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf in 2015, but his most successful horse on this side of the border has been Tepin. And I think the one thing I'm going to say about trainer Mark Casse is I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, and I'm going to just spoil it right now. I don't think any of these 3 trainers are Hall of Famers. You know, Mark Casse has not done enough. He's won 4 Breeders' Cup races, but he's never won a Triple Crown race. He is the best trainer in Canada, but I don't think we're taking into account Canada. If you are taking into account Canada, then by all means. But he already is a Canadian Hall of Fame trainer. But I think Mark Casse, I would say wait 10 years, win some more races. At some point, I will definitely look into the possibility of inducting him into the Hall of Fame. And I think at some point he is, just not at this moment. Now I'm going to switch gears to trainer Christophe Clement. And really the one big thing of note that he has done is he had Tonalist a couple years ago that spoiled California Chrome's chance at winning a Triple Crown, and it eventually went on to have a good career himself. He won the Jockey Club Gold Cup a couple of times, and then the Cigar Mile. But Christophe Clement, aside from Tonalist, really has not had that much. He did have Gio Ponte, actually. I did forget that. But for Christophe Clement, he's had 2 good horses in this country, and I really don't think that you should induct a person into the Hall of Fame because of the accolades of one horse. And, you know, Christophe Clement, he's a perfectly fine. I don't have anything against him. He's a pretty good trainer. He's got 1,800-plus wins. Christophe doesn't really have the accolades. And, you know, he had his 2 good horses. He had Gio Ponte. He had Tonalist. Tonalist did spoil a Triple Crown. Tonalist was a very good horse in his own right. And Gio Ponte has been one of the best grass horses in this country in this century, but I will say Christophe just has not done enough to warrant himself being considered for the Hall of Fame. And then finally, David Whiteley. It's kind of the same thing with him and Christophe Clement. David Whiteley, the son of ruffian trainer Frank Whiteley, he did have Coastal in the Belmont Stakes in 1981, and he also had the Filly Champion of 1976, Revittery, and then a champion female grass horse, Just a Game, and then a champion older male Waya. But really the thing for David Whiteley that tells me, you know, he's not a Hall of Fame trainer is the fact that he doesn't even have 1,000 wins as a trainer. He only has 678 wins, and that's the thing, like, Mark Casse has 2,100 wins, Christophe Clement has 1,800 plus. David Whiteley doesn't even have 1,000 wins, and I think that's kind of a threshold that you should fit if you're a trainer. I will say I will not be surprised if David Whiteley is elected, because David Whiteley has passed on, and that tends to happen a lot of times, that they induct people after their death, which I'm perfectly okay with that, and I would not be upset if David Whiteley got inducted to the Hall of Fame, but in my personal opinion, he's not a Hall of Fame trainer. He's a good trainer. He had some good horses. That's the same thing with Christophe and Mark Casse. Mark Casse and Christophe's career are still ongoing, but at this point, they've had good horses. They're good trainers. They just haven't had the success that Hall of Fame trainers need to have. So that's finally it for this series. I will say once the inductions come out, I will make a reaction video to it and just go through again whether or not I was right and do I agree with the induction. So I will see you for that. Remember, you can subscribe to us on social media if you want more. You can follow us on Twitter at Rundown Racing, on Instagram at Racing Rundown Podcast, and then you can also subscribe to the podcast itself on anywhere podcasts are found.
A 36. They're into the stretch. Tepin takes on, obviously. Tepin to the front. Tepin is now the leader as they race into the final furlong of the mile. Grand Arch is starting to put it a bit too. And on the outside is Mashawitz. Make believe weaving through traffic, but look at Tepin. Tepin. Oh, she was huge today. Mondelez runs on late for second, but Tepin and Julia Leparoux have dominated the Breeders' Cup.